Now available on Tata Sky channel number 526. Welcome to Magicbricks Now, India's first property channel. You're watching the Urban Debate. I'm Faye D'Souza. Let's take a look at what's making headlines today. It's a big Magicbricks Now impact a day after we highlighted delays in DB Realty's Dahisar project Ozone. On the Urban Debate, the management reaches out and promises timely delivery to home buyers. 2 years to the day Narendra Modi swept to power, a little over 5 lakh homes have been built under the centre's flagship program Housing for All. Magicbricks Now asks the crucial question, is enough being done to build a home for every Indian? Fresh twist in the Raj Kandhari suicide case. The Sanpara police recover a suicide note, arrest the developer's cousin and business associate. Well, our continuous coverage of project delays have forced developers to sit up and take action. On the 28th of April, Magicbricks Now has spoken to a group of buyers who had booked homes in DB Realty's Ozone project 6 years ago. They were promised possession in 2012. 4 years on, they're still waiting. Magicbricks Now got in touch with the management of DB Realty, forced the company to respond to our questions. The company sent us a response via email and we pursued asking tough questions on the show. A day after the show aired, DB Realty CEO Vinod Goenka met with buyers and promised timely delivery. Listen in to what the buyers had to say.
So first of all, thanks for all the support that we have been getting from Magicbricks Now. Mr. Bipul Bansal, he spoke to us and he still said that yes, June 30th, 2016 is when he is looking to start handing over the possession, starting with building number 1, and whatever timeline has been committed, the revised timelines, which happens to be the end of 2016, that holds good as of now. But let's see, we are hopeful that they don't backtrack on their promises again.
Of course, our campaign on project delays continues. There are several projects still stuck and we're putting our spotlight on them in the weeks to come. But in the meantime, new evidence has emerged in Raj Kandhari's suicide case. The police have recovered a suicide note from the late developer's office, alleging the note names the developer's cousin Vipin Thapar for the suicide. My colleague Aishwarya Paliwal, who's been tracking that case from the beginning, sent us this report.
Now, in a fresh twist in Raj Kandhari's suicide case, police officials of Sanpara police station have found out a suicide note in Raj Kandhari's office. Now, in this note, police sources have told us Raj Kandhari has clearly taken the name of his business associate and his cousin Vipin Thapar. The note points out to the fact that Vipin Thapar used to harass Raj Kandhari for money. Also, police sources tell us that there are certain entries in this suicide note which point out to the fact that his cousin had tried extorting money from Raj Kandhari. The interesting thing to note here is that in Sanpara police station, there are no complaints filed by Raj Kandhari against his brother. Police sources also tell us that though they have arrested his brother, they are now still looking at all the other angles into this case. They say that they are interrogating his brother and they are looking at any further reasons that could have probed Kandhari to commit suicide.
That's again another case that we're tracking very closely on this channel, but focus on what we're talking about today. From the time I started tracking the real estate market, the question I've always been asked by you over the phone calls that you send into this channel is, when will the prices come down? Why are homes so overpriced? And when will you and I be able to price and buy homes? Well, the answer is now. Prices have in fact fallen. And this is something home buyers have been waiting for such a long time. And I'll tell you why. There are two trends that are emerging in this market. First of all, newly launched homes are dominated by homes in the 30 to 50 lakh bracket. Secondly, the average price of these new homes have also come down. On the Urban Debate tonight, we ask, have property prices finally fallen? And if yes, where are these new homes being launched? Joining me on the show tonight, Rubi Arya, Executive Vice Chairman, Milestone Capital Advisors; Jayashree Kurup, Head of Content and Research at Magicbricks.com; Ramesh Jogani, Founder of real estate fund IPAL; Rohit Poddar will also join us in a bit. Rohit constructs affordable homes. This is the question we are asking. Have prices finally come down? Will you and I be able to afford homes in our big cities? We're also opening up the phone lines. We'll tell you where these homes are coming up and whether or not you should be buying them. Rubi Arya, I'm going to start with you first. The launches have gone up but they've gone up in the affordable range. Can we understand here that the big developers have now realized that the demand is coming from those of us who can afford homes in the 50 lakh rupee bracket, so that's what they're buying, that's what they're building. Effectively, prices have come down.
Sure. No, I think that's a very, very important research point which has thrown up. And definitely launches, all the launches are happening in the right ticket size and the right product configuration. And developers in some cases have actually right-sized their homes to ensure that there is uptake and absorption. And I think that's a very, very key trend, because if we keep building luxury and high mid-income housing, we are not actually housing the people who need to be housed. So I think if you were to build in the low income category, the lower middle income groups, which is the 30 to 50 lakh levels that we are talking about, I think this is a very, very positive sign, and this will lead to a lot of demand. Demand is already there. I think there'll be a lot of absorption that we will clearly see happening in the next few quarters.
Let me bring in, so you agree, Rubi agrees with me that prices are actually coming down. Jayashree Kurup, you're looking at the numbers right now. More affordable housing, developers who are open to negotiation. The fact that we're looking at it on our screen right now, launch prices, and this is in the city of Kolkata, have actually come down as well. They've come down in almost all cities except for Bangalore. Jayashree, have prices fallen, finally?
Urban India will live in smaller homes. They have shrunk the sizes and brought the prices to fit the wallet of the consumer. If the demand has been for smaller housing or cheaper housing, I think what has happened is that the developers have now started understanding the reality and building smaller houses. Also, you have a lot of policy push here, so that has helped.
All right, so that has helped. Ramesh Jogani, you've been predicting a recovery in this market, first of all, and we put that target on your screen right now. The fact that sixfold, that's how many times the number of launches have gone up. There you go. So from between January and March 2015, that's the first quarter last year, there were about 1,674 homes that were launched in our market across the country. That's gone up 6 times this year, which means that developers sense that this market is going to recover. Developers sense people are going to come out and buy. Ramesh Jogani, is the market going to recover? And does this mean that price rise is not too far away?
So if the launches have increased, I think it's more to do with the evolution of the industry also. Many new players have come in, and as a result, when new players come in, you don't get property in prime areas. So you go on the outskirts. So that's what is actually happening.
But I want to rebut that. A lot of what we're hearing in the market right now about developers who are not able to pay back their loans, developers, some of them aren't even able to pay salaries at this point. So when you say new players are coming into this market, who are these new players?
So if you look at Godrej. Now they've gone ahead and they've tied up with developers all across the city. So these were developers who have handed over their projects to Godrej and larger corporate players. So that much more supply has come in because the older developers could not build. So they've tied hands with larger developers and they're coming with it. And by default, permissions have become so hazardous within the city limits that people are going outside because you're getting cheaper payment terms to buy land. You have JV, you don't have to put cash down payments, which is not the case in the main city.
Okay. So what you're saying is that prices have not come down. What has happened instead is that people are moving outside of the city to build and not building inside the city anymore.
That's because within the city it's not possible to build at such a large scale. So it's only possible outside. And with India post liberalization, we need homes and we need affordable homes. So this is a trend which we are seeing. But have the prices come down? Yes, they've come down because as a JV partner, if I were to do a JV with a typical developer on the outskirts, I would insist that the prices have to be brought down so that you can have faster sales. So the developers have realized if they want velocity, and when you're building such large townships, you want constant sales.
And I have one question for you, and I'll ask Rubi this question as well. What people are telling us right now is that investors like yourselves are expecting very high returns on your investments, sometimes upwards of 20%. Now, if we have an environment where prices are coming down, investors are expecting 20, 23, 25% on their investments. How is that going to happen? How is a developer ever going to make those numbers add up? Ramesh?
So So if you look at the way you invest is how you make your 20%. So if I were to buy a house for say 1 crore, but I give the developer only 50 lakhs, and if the flat were to increase from 1 crore to 1 crore 30 lakhs, on my 50 lakhs I still make that 30 lakhs, which over a period of 3 years is 20%. So it's not in absolute terms, it's on the return on your capital which you're looking at. So it has to be structured in a manner where your capital is not fully invested, you invest only a fraction of it, and then you get your returns on that. So it's and it can be done through leverage also, which so that's how you get those returns. It's not in absolute terms. It's never in absolute terms. If we go by 20% in absolute terms,
I'll bring in Rohit on this, but Rubi, I want your response as well, because a lot of the industry tells us that they want to bring the prices down to make it more affordable. And these prices that we're seeing right now that we're talking about are of new launches. These are new things that have come into the market. The ones that already exist in the market, they're unable to bring the prices down because investors will not allow them. Investors expect a certain return. How do you respond to that?
No, I think in real estate investing, what is very, very important is that in the end, the developer has to make money. Now, if you are going to be just sticking with pure debt at 20%, 22%, probably in today's market, that will not work. So if you look at the way PE fund houses are investing, I mean, 3 years back, it was pure debt, it changed into mezz, now it's changing more into equity, preferred equity structures. So idea is that while you are helping hold up the developer to complete the project, sometimes because he's taken your money, he's able to hold on with the prices. But even if, just to answer your question on whether prices have really fallen, in some places, of course, absolutely they have fallen. But in some places, because inflation has gone up and prices are probably at a 2013 level, there is a time value that, of money which is there. So prices in effect have fallen almost 22% if they are still sitting at the 2013 rates. So absolute terms, maybe they have not fallen, but there is a correction which has happened. So even in that environment, if investors have to make money, we have to think of innovative structures, because in the end, we are partnering with the developer. And in this business, there are developers on this panel. The margins are pretty good, and if you can actually partner with the developer in the true sense, whether by way of equity or preferred equity, you will still make those, downside protected 18% with an equity upside. So, I think that's been our model, and it has worked pretty well because investors also want downside protection, So if you are able to give them 300, 400 basis points more than a risk-free return, plus ride the equity upside along with the developer, I think we are good.
Rohit, Poddar, respond to this. The fact that a lot of developers have told us that they're unable to bring prices down because they have to service either debt or investments that have been made by PE funds, and so they can't bring the prices down. Is that what you're facing as well?
Well, actually, we're debt-free. We have no bank loan of any nature, including working capital. And hence, it's a completely deleveraged balance sheet. But I think that friends of ours who've got private equity money or more expensive debt, whether it's from NBFCs, are obviously facing issues because velocity of sales have been less for the last 2.5 years in comparison to the historical past. And as a consequence, the holding costs have actually gone up. Personally speaking, if you ask my opinion, I think 18-20% returns are completely unworkable for the affordable housing space, which is the reason why several affordable housing players haven't taken on any private equity investments or debt at higher prices. I think debt at 11-12% typically works from a construction finance perspective, but anything substantially more than that doesn't work for affordable housing. Also we keep talking about affordable housing is such a wide gamut.
What is the definition of affordable
exactly.
housing?
So I'd say that basically for mid-income housing, maybe you have slightly better margins, you can afford slightly better rates of interest or slightly higher returns for the private equity companies or funds. But certainly for economically weaker section housing, where your prices are typically in Mumbai suburbs 2,500 rupees a square foot or 3,000 rupees a square foot, and looking at selling apartments at 10-15 lakhs of rupees, you can't afford those rates.
All right. In fact, the rates are on your screen right now, and I want to take our audience through the numbers that we're looking at. In Mumbai, the average launch price, now while the size of homes have come down, this is the average launch price. The launch price used to be 6,760 on an average. It's come down to about 4,300. And this is the entire MMR region, including Thane and Navi Mumbai. That's going to be on your screen. There you'll see it. So this is per square foot. So this is irrespective of the size of the home. Those prices have come down. over the last 2 years, because interestingly enough, over the last 1 year, first quarter, there weren't any launches to compare it to, so we had to go back 1 year. So that's 2014 to 2016. Those are Mumbai's affordable prices. Launch prices in the Delhi NCR region have only gone down about 2%. But there have been very, very few launches in the Delhi NCR region. If we look at Pune, there's a big change in Pune as well. Pune has come down 25%. It was at an average of 5,000 rupees a square foot in the first quarter of last year. It's come down to 3,750 rupees a square foot in the first quarter of this year. There's a big, big change there. Also, Kolkata showing a marginal 5% dip as well. It was about 2.5, it's about 2,420. So we are seeing changes. And like Jayashree pointed out, the size of homes have also come down. And that's how we've been able to fit into that ticket size. The only one that's bucking the trend there is Bangalore. That has gone up. In fact, Jayashree, when you study the city of Bangalore, and I'm going to make Ramesh, rebut this because he's a big believer in Mumbai. When you study the city of Bangalore, why is Bangalore still bucking all trends?
The Bangalore demand had been pretty steady for a long time. Having said that, we saw the Bangalore demand coming down and sentiment dropping only in the last 2 or 3 quarters. However, the market, I think, has not responded to that falling sentiment, and it continues to launch luxury homes. If you look at the Mumbai region, we find that Prop Index shows that the bulk of the growth and the bulk of the expansion has been in Navi Mumbai and Thane, which are far less expensive markets than the rest of Mumbai, the city of Mumbai. If you look at Delhi NCR, you haven't seen too many launches, but the prices haven't come down significantly because the prices had already dropped in the peripheral regions of Noida Extension, Greater Noida, and so on. So those were, the bulk of the development that was happening was in the affordable categories. It's just Bangalore where you're seeing a lot of luxury apartments coming up, and it's not that they're selling wildly, but they still are launching those.
Ramesh Jogani, if nobody is going to want to build in the city of Mumbai, which you had said earlier, you said that Mumbai is expensive, the rules don't allow that much construction right now. The new companies are moving to the outskirts of the city. You've always been a believer in the western suburbs of Mumbai. What's happening with Mumbai? Why does it seem like Thane, Navi Mumbai, Bangalore seem to be giving Mumbai a run for its money?
So when I'm saying Mumbai, I include periphery of Mumbai. That includes Thane.
Okay.
So if you look at the launches, it's not only in the affordable segment, even in the mid segment, launches have been at a lower price. And that's why you've seen a lot of volumes happening. People have brought down the home sizes. People have brought down the prices. In fact, we've always spoken about replacement value. I said now is the time where you're getting at replacement cost, which is the cost of the developer. Right. And now is the time to invest. So it's been across the board. But I'm a big believer in Mumbai is in terms of exit. If you need an exit, you'll get it in Mumbai. Like she was saying, okay, these launches are happening, but the demand has dipped in the last 3 quarters in Bangalore, which your survey won't show.
Yeah, and I want to point this out to our viewers. It's on your screen right now. We'll see that the interesting thing about Bangalore, developers like Brigade, Sarlapuria, Prestige, getting into affordable housing. Ramki, these are developers who've always built high-end homes in Bangalore. We've seen it happen across the board. We broke the story here on the channel about Hiranandani getting into affordable housing as well. So it does seem like everybody's starting to pivot the business a little bit, and everybody seems to want to give Rohit Poddar some competition in a space that he's enjoyed up till now. So Ramesh Jogani, affordable homes is where all the juice is left right now in this market?
I won't say there's all the juice left. I'll say because of lack of area available in the city, people are moving outside. So at one time, Powai was extended suburbs. Hiranandani had launched at almost 2,700 and 2,800. Nobody was willing to go there. But over a year, it got established. Right. Likewise, you'll have Thane, New Bombay, outer areas. When the population increases, you have no choice but to move on the outside. It takes some time for the prices to revive or prices to appreciate. But these will be the new areas where people will move out.
All right, Krishna Kumar is on the phone line from Orissa. He called in. He has a question for us. Krishna, go ahead. What's your question?
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Krishna. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Actually, I want to purchase a house for the investment purpose, and my budget is around 30 lakh to 40 lakhs, and investment is around for 10 years. And within the 10 years, I want to get better rent.
You want to get rent. And Krishna, are you particular about any city? Is there a city that you frequent often enough to?
No, nothing like that. But I was thinking that Bangalore will be somewhat better. But you better suggest me which city will be better. And that opportunity for growth will be there.
All right, so the opportunity for growth and good rent, I'd argue Bangalore, maybe Pune. Jayashree, 30 to 40 lakh rupees, what would you recommend?
Try Electronic City. Go anywhere where the IT corridors are. Any place closer to the IT corridors rather than Bangalore, Krishna. I would actually recommend what Fade said. Pune is a better bet for you because the prices are not as steep as in Bangalore, and you do get steady rental returns. But remember, if rental returns is your goal, you must buy into property that is at least partly constructed. Don't go for new launches because you'll have to wait for 3 to 4 years before you start getting your returns. But if you have a 10-year time frame, buy something that is closer to completion, give it on rent, hold it, and I think you shouldn't go wrong.
On your screen right now, the prices, Electronic City is at 3,824 rupees. It's up 13% in the last 2 years. We'll also take a look at Pune. Jayashree, where in Pune would you recommend at the bracket of 30 to 40 lakh rupees that rules out a lot of the IT hubs? You'd have to go into the PCMC area or the PMRD area.
But even if you look at the PCMC area, you do find that, Pune is a city that is spreading radially, and there is, you find that a 30 to 40 lakh budget is not impossible in any zone in Pune. If I were to pick up, there is the Talegaon Chakan stretch where the manufacturing as well as some part of the IT, this thing is coming. There is Hinjewadi area where around Hinjewadi you have some areas where you get in 30 to 40 lakh. So, which is why I feel you have more options in Pune rather than in Bangalore in this budget.
All right, Ruby, you have an eye on Pune, I know as well. What would you recommend for him? Between Pune and Bangalore, you just exited from Bangalore. What would you recommend between Pune and Bangalore?
No, I think, as you rightly said, I think Bangalore already the prices are pretty steep. So if he's looking at investing, getting rental returns, I think Pune should be a better bet because prices are still moderately, homes are still moderately priced. So it will be a cheaper buy than in Bangalore. And probably, Hinjewadi, towards the Kharadi side, or should be good bets.
All right, Kharadi might seem slightly overpriced for his budget right now. Kharadi is at 6,000, which means that you won't get anything in that budget right now. Ruby, also the dark horse of Hyderabad might be an interesting thing to look at if you're looking at rental returns right now. There's some great property available at great prices. Would you recommend Hyderabad?
Yes, why not? If you can, find good prices. Hyderabad is very, very well priced. Sure. So yes, you could, but I am not a very keen believer in the Hyderabad story yet.
All right. Krishna, my piece of advice for you when you consider Pune being the top choice, Bangalore, then Hyderabad, there's more risk in Hyderabad, is personally, if you're going to buy a property in any city, make sure it's a city you're connected to in some way, because you'll have to visit very often, you'll have to manage that property. So it helps to either have family that lives there or visit the city. So have a reason to visit the city often enough so you can manage it. And that doesn't, you're not having to make a trip entirely just to find a tenant. All right, Nikhil is also on the phone line from Delhi. Nikhil, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I just have a question. I'm trying to find a property in Delhi NCR. It's basically in, I'm looking at the areas of Noida extension, and recently I got a unit in NH24 Ghaziabad. Okay. What I don't really know is my budget is 35 and it's purely from the investment point of view. So I want a property which is, from a reliable builder and in an area where the price appreciates. And if I can get a rental income, I don't know. If it's a really, out of the way demand, but if I can get some suggestions on this, that will be great. And which builder can I, rely on really?
It's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it because this is the holy trinity of the NCR: reliable builder, good location, good construction, and great rental income. Jayashree? We can count them on our hands now, can't we? Noida extension.
He's chasing a rainbow. Let me tell you that everything that you asked for is not going to happen. But let me put it like this. There are some parts of the NCR which have been established, with a 35 lakh budget, you can get Crossings Republic, Rajnagar Extension, NH24 that you mentioned. There are developers there, and I think the best thing to do is buy something that is closer to completion. Preferably completed. There's plenty of completed stock, and if you pick up that, your risk is very low, and there is reasonable rental demand in the NCR. So you will be able to get regular rental returns, and I think that is what you should be aiming for.
Actually, quick question to Nikhil. Nikhil, with this investment that you're making right now, what do you hope for? I know you're looking for rental returns, but are you hoping for a certain type of return on the capital value? Do you want to hold it for 5 years, for 10 years? What's your outlook on this investment?
Yeah, I'm planning for a time horizon for somewhere around 3 to 5 years basically. 3 would be very less, but yeah, 5 years definitely if I can get a good return in in the duration of 5 years. So that's what my outlook is. So if I can get something in that,
sure.
Because I got
3 years in the NCR, I wouldn't recommend the market at all. You probably should be looking at a fixed deposit. Rubi Arya, 5 years in the NCR region. Should he just buy something that's already constructed, maybe closer, to Noida in the secondary market? Needn't have to be a new apartment.
Yeah, I think, secondary sale, but a completed apartment is very, very important, knowing the fact that there are so many projects under construction which have, which have not yet been completed. So I think idea is to buy a completed project or from the secondary market and hold it, I don't expect too much of price appreciation anyways, but because the idea is to hold it for rental income, rental income is not the best income. I would rather that he put that money in some other asset class rather than put it for investing and for rental income in an NCR property.
All right. So that's the advice you're getting right now. If you're watching at home and you're wondering where these cheaper homes are and if you should be going out and buying them, our phone line is on your screen. You can get in touch with us. In the meantime, Rohit, Poddar, are prices actually coming down? If yes, which neighborhoods, what kind of pricing pressure are developers facing right now?
I think it's a general question, so I can't, I'll give a specific answer. I think it depends really on the particular project and who the developer actually is. We're actually a Mumbai-based developer, so we have domain knowledge only of this market as opposed to other markets. And we're actually seeing pricing haven't gone up in the last 3 months in certainly the central suburbs of Kalyan, Dombivli, Shahad, Badlapur. So prices have gone up 4 to 7% in the last quarter, and I think sell-throughs have also increased in the same time. So there's more absorption basically on a weekly basis. So I've said this in the past as well, that I'm actually quite bullish on a fairly quick revival in the affordable housing space in particular. See, in these markets also, remember the ticket sizes of apartments are very affordable and the prices also have been fairly stable over the last couple of years. So there's been no appreciation as such over the last 2 years.
What quantum of sales are you seeing come back into your Kalyan, Dombivli markets, into the other peripheral markets that you're looking at in Mumbai?
So actually we were selling Kalyan at about 4,200 about a year back, and now we're currently at about 4,800, 4,900.
Okay.
Badlapur is currently at about 3,500, and there was about 3,100, 3,200 about a year back. Shahpur has also gone up about 10%. So I think that you had 2 years of comparatively no increase in price whatsoever, fairly sluggish offtakes. But since January, we've been seeing a, frankly speaking, surprising trend for ourselves as well, where the prices have not only gone up, but so have the absorption rates. Whether it lasts, for the future, it's anybody's guess. Okay. But that's what it is today.
All right. So in the first quarter of this year, since January, prices are moving upwards slightly in the affordable housing segment, and so are the absorption rates. Ramesh Jogani, I know you're going to say Mumbai if I ask you what market you favor the most, but I want to know within Mumbai, where are you seeing the growth? Is it also the Kalyan Dombivli market? Because I want our viewers to remember the fact that Kalyan Dombivli had a stay on all new construction until a month or so ago. That stay has now been lifted, which means new construction will come up in that market. Ramesh?
So Kalyan Dombivli has done really well. So that's for the budget of between 30 to 50 lakhs. I think by the sheer limitation, you will be restricted to either...
The artificial scarcity that was created by that stay?
By that, no, between 30 to 50 lakhs, you have to be in that area, or you can be in the western suburbs, Nala Supara, Vasai, Virar, in that belt. So those are the areas where you have to be within that. Otherwise, you won't get anything within the city center or within the city.
Okay, and you still don't see any other market better than Mumbai?
We spoke about Electronic City some time back, where it was quoted like 3,400, but you'll be surprised that 3,400 is since last 7 years. Nothing has moved. So we might talk about 5%, 10% absolute gains, but if you look at the capital invested and if you have to wait that long, you've not even made a 2% IRR. So we must be careful before we advise our viewers what they should buy. But you don't need to look at only the last quarter or the last year. You need to go back in time,
Wait, let me
5 years, 7 years, to
Ruby,
really be
because
able
she just
to...
made an investment in Bangalore, not in Electronic City, but in Bangalore, and she managed to exit with a return. Ruby, when you look at Bangalore, and obviously when you make an investment, you get a better deal than if one of my viewers were to make an investment. But respond to that. The fact that Electronic City has not really seen that growth, but there are some neighborhoods in Bangalore that have done remarkably well. How do we pick?
See, it's very important, micro market. See, we can't paint with the same brush the entire city, so to say. Every micro market is different. Just to take on the Kalyan bit, we did an affordable housing project in Kalyan, and we actually saw prices go up. The launch price in 2011 was 1,800 per square feet. And when we exited at a 20% IRR from the developer, we got the prices which were hailing in the market were 4,000. So there was a price increase, but are we going to see a similar price increase going forward? Probably not. So maybe 5 to 7% kind of an increase is what you will go seeing forward, which you will see going forward. But, prices have gone up despite the stay which was there, which has just got lifted. So what happened is the first phase got over, we got out, and the second and third phase have not been able to happen. Talking of Bangalore, I think every micro market will be different. I mean, we've made good returns. We have invested in a project very, very close to Manyata Tech Park, where also prices have moved. But yes, absorption is slow. Sales velocity is slow. Probably we have to wait it out. We still have time on the fund. So I'm sure we will be able to make up for that.
But what are your expectations? So if you look at the Manyata Tech Park area, which is the Hennur, all of those neighborhoods, the Thanisandra neighborhood, what are your expectations of returns from those neighborhoods?
See, if you were to go into those markets, you can talk of a 7 to 10% kind of a CAGR growth that you can see, provided you pick up the right developer and you pick up the right project. I think the underlying is extremely, extremely important. So, what are the project economics? What is the status of the approvals? Because obviously you don't want to buy into a already constructed home. You will take up something which is under construction. So obviously the status of the approvals, the developer track record. So all of that, if you were to do a thorough search and you are able to invest, you should be able to make a 7 to 10% CAGR growth.
All right.
But if I were to look at a retail buyer, obviously he does not have the wherewithal to do such extensive due diligence. So you can only look at the trends, what happened in the past and what is going to happen in the future based on what has happened in the past. So if you look at Bangalore overall, the land prices have increased. But if you look at completed projects, they've not moved at the rate they should move as compared to any other city, be it NCR, be it. So only places which I can think of is Gurgaon, your Bombay, and a little bit of Pune, that in the main city center. People bought, now she just spoke about 1,800 launch price, but if you'll be surprised that the builder who's built at 1,800, his cost would be more than 2,400. Okay. So he's made a loss, in fact, because 1,800 was a substandard pricing, because everybody believed, like I was saying, the developers have just moved out for the first time into large townships, into multi-stories, and we were not aware of what the costing is going to be. So many times we mispriced our product. So it's not about prices moving. Like Electronic City 3,500 has been here like that for last 10 years. If the little prices have increased, it's also because of the cost which has gone up. So you have to be very careful when we advise. Like in Noida, I would tell the viewer not to touch, because nothing is going to happen for next 5-7 years. You'll get a flat, you'll get a return of 2% or 2.5%. You rightly said, put it in savings account where you'll get a higher rate of interest.
So I mean, that's something that all of our viewers have to ask themselves. If you're looking at 6%, 7% return on capital appreciation in real estate, you could get that from a fixed deposit, far less heartburn. Rubi Arya, respond to that. Bangalore, there's a lot of experimenting that's happening in the market. Developers are trying new things. They might not have all paid off. We can't expect what we've seen over the last, in those pockets at least. Right now, Ramesh is saying Bangalore is not doing very well.
Yes, I mean, see, Bangalore has been a mature, stable market. Prices have not gone up the way they have skyrocketed in a Mumbai. So it's more real, it's more mature. There is stability. Are we going to expect huge capital appreciations if we were to buy in houses? I mean, I personally think 7 to 10% if you are able to, lock in. And see, actually, we have to realize who's buying. So if it is the end user and, that buy is imminent. I mean, if he needs to buy a house, he needs to buy a house. What is important is that he has to select the right location, the right developer, the right project, and then make that investment. For investors, I mean, Bangalore is not a typical, Bangalore has never been an investor market. I mean, the investor markets have been Mumbai and NCR traditionally. And even from there, I think, investors have almost fled because, the kind of skyrocketing of prices which happened, which took the Mumbai residential prices to what it is today, is not going to last, long.
It's not going to happen again.
Yes,
right.
and prices have stabilized.
All right, so this is something we say in the stock market, just do not expect any sort of investment to repeat its performance. Just because you've seen that performance over the last 10 years doesn't mean it's going to happen again. Deepak Sharma is on the phone line from New Delhi with a question for us. Deepak, go ahead.
Hi, madam. Good evening to you and all your panelists. Ma'am, I am planning to buy a plot at the JP Sport City, Noida. So I would like to your available input, whether this is the right time to buy or I should buy a flat in the street.
Okay, what stage of readiness is this plot and this plotted development at?
JP Sport City, the people are talking that this is one of the very good, they are ready for position. People have been given position also.
Okay. Jayashree, what would you recommend the JP Sports City in Noida? And I'll come back to Ramesh. And if I understand, this is a pure investment? Deepak, is this purely for an investment?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Pure investment. I'll come back to Ramesh, who said just stay away from Noida entirely. Jayashree, would you recommend the JP Sports City?
No, I won't.
Why not?
That is one developer where many projects have been delayed, and they have launched about 12 or 15 projects, and I think only one or part of one has been delivered. So I would say that any developer where you know that there is a problem on the ground, I would say don't put your money there. You're a retail investor, you can't buffer that kind of losses. Also in the Noida market, do not enter as an investor. Noida is flush with stock, plots, land, properties, and end users, it's a good market to buy. Suppose you want to buy it and stay in it, please go ahead. But if you're an investor, I would say stay away from Noida.
Stay away from Noida. Ramesh Jogani, stay away from Noida. I mean, it's one thing, of course, that Noida right now is very difficult to find a developer who will deliver what you're buying. Very difficult to find a developer who's actually managing to finish projects. But even so, you're saying stay away from Noida entirely?
As
Ramesh?
an investor, for sure. Only if you are an actual user, you work around there, your family is around there. So then if you need to stay there, you buy it. Better still, I would rent it out and buy it when you're more sure about it.
All right, so don't buy in the Noida market at all. Sanjay is also on the phone line from Mumbai. Sanjay, what's your question?
My question is basically for end use, for self-use.
Okay.
2 to 3 years horizon would increase. What would be the choice for 2 BHK?
2 BHK self-use in Mumbai. What's your budget, Sanjay?
Budget should be around 1 crore or 1.2 crore.
All right, 1.2 crore. Okay, that's a good budget. Rohit Poddar, within Mumbai, 1.2 crore rupees. That's slightly ahead of affordable housing in Mumbai. What would you recommend? What neighborhood's looking good right now?
Well, I mean, he's I think looking at Thane in particular. There's quite a lot available in Thane at 1.2 crores. I think you can probably buy a slightly larger flat in that as well.
Okay.
You've got two major areas of projects coming up, of course. The first being Thane Gudbandar Road and the periphery of that. But there are also some projects coming up now near the Yeur Hill side, which is the Singhania, the Raymond School side.
Yes.
So depending on what location he basically prefers, he can decide on what he wants to buy. I mean, the malls are basically, on the Gudbandar side and also in the city. I mean, they're all over the place actually, but I mean, it really depends on what his preference really is. If he's a commuter by train, then I'd recommend that sort of Gudbandar Road's quite far. You have to catch a three-wheeler there or a bus. It takes almost 45 minutes to get home from
the station.
Yeah,
from the station.
And if you're looking at a commuter model, then somewhere closer to the station would actually be quite good.
Actually, Sanjay, tell us this. Let's assume...
I just wanted to say, at 1.2, you could come right into Goregaon.
I want to first find out where Sanjay works, where his kids go to school, but where his wife works, so we can figure out what neighborhood suits him best. Sanjay, what neighborhood would you like to live in terms of just convenience?
I will be preferring Thane because my son studies in Thane and wife works in Kurla.
Okay, so that train line then makes sense. So Thane and so Ramesh, then while he could come all the way to the western suburbs, a lot of people don't want the western suburbs anymore because it's impossible to get in and out of it.
There's a project which is available at 1.5 crores for a 2-bedroom hall.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you can increase the budget a little bit, and you would get it right in Kurla. So that's what I'm saying. It's affordable. Now is the time to buy, and you can come back into the city if that's the kind of your budget. There are projects being launched.
Would you recommend that project in Kurla? Will they finish on time?
No, it's almost at a late stage.
Okay.
It's at a late stage.
You still don't want to tell us the name, though?
I wouldn't want to recommend a name because I'm not.
Okay. All right. So, Sanjay, suffices to say this: there are options in Thane. Ruby, you want to recommend something?
Sure. No, we've recently funded, a developer called Rajesh Life Spaces. He has a project called Raj Tatva at the start of Ghodbandar Road. So, I think the location-wise, it's a very, very good micro market. It's not towards the end; it's at the start. And probably that is one project which comes to mind because we did a thorough study when we invested into the project. It's already 6 floors up. It's the financial closure is already achieved on the project, and and probably that's a good buy. But
all right, lots of interesting construction at Ghodbandar Road. But if you go back to what Rohit said, Ghodbandar Road is 45 minutes in an auto rickshaw away from Thane station. So if his wife works in Kurla, she'll spend 45 minutes every day getting out of the station to her home. Jayashree, what would you recommend for him? Ramesh made a very good point that at 1.2 CR right now, he doesn't have to go all the way to Thane. He might find something closer to the city. Is there something in second sale perhaps that you can look at?
We have missed the point that he made. His child studies in Thane. I think his first choice should be Thane because the child should not be traveling. If the parent travels, that's fine, but the child should be traveling much less. And with his budget, he should be able to get something that is convenient for his family in Thane. If I were him, I would have gone for Thane.
All right.
I think he could make his pick in Thane at that budget.
Okay, he can make his pick in Thane.
He shouldn't struggle.
Jayashree, do you want to give him a more pointed answer in terms of Thane within that market? It's a huge market. What would you recommend for him?
No, I don't think I want to recommend specifics here.
Sanjay, which school does your son go to in Thane?
Universal I. We should Brahman.
Okay, so that's at Ghodbandar Road. So that then solves a lot of the problems. Rubi Arya recommending Ghodbandar Road. So then the child doesn't have to travel that much. Lots of construction in Ghodbandar Road. So Thane is the right choice there for you. Pick any of the constructions at Ghodbandar Road. If you need more information, you can get back in touch with us. I'm going to run those numbers on the screen right now for any of our viewers who just joined us. You'll see that prices have begun to come down across the country. Also, developers are now focusing on affordable homes. These are smaller homes, but they're a lower ticket size, closer to the 50 lakh rupee budget, which fits into the budget of a lot of people who live in urban India. There you'll see in Mumbai, the average launch price has begun to come down. The same thing we're noticing in cities like Pune, in the NCR, only marginally, but yet so. Also, we'll notice the same thing in Kolkata, and the only city that seems to buck that trend is Bangalore. I want to focus on the city of Pune for a second there. It's a very, very interesting market. We've seen very interesting launches. There are developers who are branching out and trying out new things. Rubi Arya, within the Pune market, if there's someone right now looking to buy a home that they want to live in, what would you recommend for them?
I think you could, try the Magarpatta extension also, which nobody on the show has so far mentioned, because that is also coming up pretty well. And then Hinjewadi, that of course continues. And if you want to go more affordable, then towards the Chakan, Sodhpur side is a good bet in the Pune city.
The interesting thing about Pune, and we've looked at its commercial numbers, there's a lot of demand for commercial IT space in Pune. And this is interesting because this means that new jobs will be set up. And when new jobs come up, then there'll be demand for homes in the future. That's the Magicbricks Prop Index on your screen right now. You'll see Pune actually doing really, really well, especially while it's flattened out over the last 1 year. It seems to be picking up as well. Jayashree, the city of Pune, would you recommend it to people looking to buy homes to live in? And if someone lives in Pune right now in rented accommodation and they want to buy their own home in the affordable bracket of 50 lakh rupees, which part of Pune would you send them to?
See, Faye, in Pune, people normally choose which part of the city they stay in, and that is and there's plenty of options around where they stay. If you are working in the Hinjewadi area, there's enough options. If you go towards the Nagar Road, there are many options around that. And I see it's like the hub and spoke in Pune. If there is a hub, there are spokes along which you can buy property, and it is very convenient to stay there. So I think in every part of Pune, whatever your budget, you do find some property, some pocket there that will
Ramesh, you know what the fantastic part about Pune is? If you take the hub and spoke model, there are new hubs coming up all over the city. So it's a city that's constantly expanding. So there'll always be room. There'll always be new homes. And by that argument, by your argument, the prices will always stay subdued?
Absolutely. If you look at, so we've been talking about IT corridors, we've been talking about manufacturing corridors, but if you look at the area around it, the prices are the lowest compared to any other areas, because the people working in those sectors, they don't have very high salaries. It's only that small percentile which manage, and they don't want to stay nearby. So it's misleading to say that if it's an IT corridor or it's a manufacturing corridor, you must buy there as an investment. No way. You need to get in where there's lifestyle, where there's activity. You can't be staying in those corridors. If you look at Whitefield, you look at Electronic City, you look at Magarpatta, you look at Hinjewadi, the prices have they've moved up. And they've all now stabilized because people realized. And when we've been talking about these launches from 5,000 to 3,700, we've not really done a comparison of the specs or the amenities provided. Unfortunately, in that lure of consuming extra FSI, everybody went tall. And when the minute you go tall, your minimum expenses cost is around 3,500. Now, people are scaling back. They're coming back to 7-story model, 10-story model. And that's why they've been able to bring down the prices. And they've cut down on the amenities.
So there's a lot of supply coming up in the Mumbai-Pune expressway stretch, from both ends. From the new Panvel side and also from the Pune side, we'll see that construction take over more and more of the space. Rohit, Poddar, is there any, what sort of appreciation can we expect in those neighborhoods? New Panvel, even further, as we go further and further down the expressway, there's new construction coming up.
Well, they talk about convergence of Pune and Mumbai eventually. I think the prices have already moved up substantially now with the announcement of the international airport.
Right.
So I'm not actually sure, to what degree the prices will go up from here. I mean, of course, if construction actually starts on the Trans-Harbour Link and also on the airport, then some appreciation is certainly to be expected.
Sure.
But whether it's sustainable over a 5-7 year period would depend on the infrastructure driving those areas.
All right. It's very interesting. The MMRDA and the PMRDA have boundaries that now touch each other at Lonavala. Both of these cities are planning on expanding and eventually merging at some point in the future. But is there enough there for us as investors? I have another viewer on the phone line.
Yes, add here,
go ahead.
Any new city like the New Bombay, it took almost 10 to 15 years before the prices started rising. Right. So likewise, it will be with Panvel and New Panvel. So they never stabilize with announcements. You might see prices going up, but it goes through its own journey. And it takes nearly 10 to 15 years when you see the city being fully evolved, and that's when the prices stabilize.
Yeah, because it's one thing for the government to actually draw up a plan, but it's another thing for people to live there and work there and actually create an economy. That's when we'll see the prices change. Navi Mumbai popping up on your screen right now. There you have it. It's done fairly well. We're seeing a dip in the last quarter of last year. We're waiting for the numbers to come out for this quarter. Jayashree, Navi Mumbai on the latest price index. How's it looking to you?
Navi Mumbai has gone up again.
Okay.
Navi Mumbai and Thane have both gone up again. And actually, Faye, I think you have to give a lot of credit to the infrastructure projects that get completed. See, remember, while we're talking about a 10-15 year flat market, the projects themselves were delayed by about 10 to 12 years. So if the projects had been on time, I don't think we would have seen that flat period in the market that we have seen. Right. Now projects seem to be moving at a faster pace, and if that does continue in the Navi Mumbai area, I think the rise that you're going to see is far more steady than what you saw in the first 15 years of Navi Mumbai.
All right, I want to take another call. Nagbhushan is on the phone line from my home state in Mysore. Nagbhushan, tell us what your question is.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Very good evening. I'm Nagbhushan from Mysore. This is Karnataka, near to Bangalore.
Yes, sir.
as an investor, do you recommend to buy the branded property or local developer in Bangalore?
A branded property or a low-cost developer in Bangalore?
Local developer will be price will be lesser by 15-20%.
Yes, that's a very good question. Could you tell us what your budget is, Mr. Nagbhushan?
Around 50 lakhs.
Around 50 lakh rupees. Okay, all right. That's an excellent question, and I'll tell you why. Because across the country, whenever you have a reputed developer, a name that we've all heard, they charge about 15-20% higher than the builder plus 4 floors, that's right next door. Does it make sense, if you're looking at the city of Bangalore, does it make sense to pay that extra 15-20% for the name and for the brand? Jayashree Kurup.
When you look at a local developer, it's not that all local developers do not deliver. So I would say whether it's a local developer or a national developer, go with the track record. Go check out the project, their previous projects. Go talk to people who live there. And even if it is a small local developer who has been delivering consistently, I don't think there's anything wrong in buying those projects.
The question to this is obviously, one is will they deliver on time? But when I decide to sell, because Mr. Nagbhushan is looking at an investment. When he decides to sell at some point, will he be able to command a higher price because he bought a branded development?
See, branded developments tend to do a little better than the rest of the market. For instance, I would say that if you've bought into a DLF property, you've bought in at a higher rate, but it does tend to outperform the rest of the market if that project has been well maintained, which normally happens. And that is where the big developer scores. They keep the property values high because there is a level of maintenance that they bring with them. If the local developer is also one who maintains the properties, there's nothing wrong in buying, because remember that when you enter that property, you're getting a larger living space than the branded developer.
All right, Ruby, branded developer, non-branded developer?
I think local strong developer, because even regionally you have very, very strong players in the market. So I think instead of just a pure local developer who only operates in one micro market, at least you should have a developer who's developed at least some, million square feet in the city itself. So just don't go by somebody who's only in that particular micro market, but somebody who has done work in a couple of micro markets, and a locally strong player is what is good.
This is the interesting thing. There are a lot of cases, especially in Bangalore, of developers from other cities who've come in now and trying their hand at Bangalore. And the truth is that real estate is a very local subject. You need to have someone who knows the market, who knows the government, who knows how to get the permissions, who knows the local rules. Rohit, Poddar, weigh in on this. How important is it? Is the brand more important than actually understanding the market and understanding how the local authority functions?
Well, I mean, they both have their own, pros and cons. It's very important. You can't succeed in a market unless you know the local market, wherever you are, however big or small you may be.
Ramesh Jogani?
So therefore, I mean, even if a major brand gets into the local market, he has to understand the market, otherwise he won't succeed.
Yeah, he should have a local partner at least. Ramesh?
So, if you look at the branded developers who moved out of the city, they've not been very successful. So, I would go with the fact that if there's a local developer who's done continuous development in that area and is delivered, I would go with them.
All right.
I'm more sure of delivery. And,
all right. So
and
be sure.
There's a phase to it.
Can I make a point here?
Go ahead, Jayashree.
Even if it's a local developer, look at it like this. If he has 8 projects and 2 are complete and 5 are under construction, the chances of you getting a delivery on time is smaller. But if it is a person who's got 8 projects, 4 of which are delivered, 2 are in advanced stages of construction and 2 are in early stages, you can actually check the track record. When I say track record of the developer, what I mean is, does he have enough delivered projects, and does he have too many projects where the chances of him delivering on time are bleak? Check that out. That is very important.
So, yeah, go ahead.
The bigger thing is there's a phase to whom you're buying from. In a branded developer, you don't know whom you're buying from. You don't know what you'll be hit with. There have been so many complaints about all the large developers.
Sure.
So it's better that you buy from a known developer and through your some contact. Like you go to your family doctor. Same way, if you have a family developer, nothing like it.
A family developer, all right. That's an interesting concept to explore. So it's important to find out what the developer's reputation is. So we want to know that this person can deliver, and the person has delivered quality and quality on time. Also, you want to make sure that when you go back into the market to sell, you'll be able to command a decent price because you've bought a good construction. On your screen, projects that have launched right now in that affordable space. We've run out of time. I want to thank our panel for joining us this evening and answering those questions. Our contact details stay open, so if you have questions for us, feel free to get in touch. But I want to remind our viewers of something. While we have run a campaign on delays of projects, which is a very, very common thing in this market, there are developers across the country who've succeeded in delivering projects on time. Here is a list of projects that have made their possession date in the last 1 year. This is a list that we will continue to release over this channel over the next couple of weeks. Every day, there will be a list of developers who've managed to meet their deadlines to prove to you that it's not all bad in our market.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Magicbricks Now. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magicbricks Now. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/Magicbricks Now.